Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 71499, Mateo's spray paint truck from the summer 2025 LEGO Dreamzzz wave. This set contains 929 pieces, 5 full-size minifigures, and 1 smaller Dreamlink figure, and it will retail for $99.99 USD or €99.99 Euro. This set does not officially release until June 1st, 2025 in most parts of the world, or August 1st, 2025 in North America, but it was gifted to me early for review by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are entirely my own. Now, this is a LEGO Dreamzzz set, and just like all LEGO Dreamzzz sets, this set does have an alternate build. I will be covering both builds in this video, so make sure to watch it all the way through if you want to see them both. And if you enjoy these reviews and you want to see more, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Liking and subscribing does a ton to help support me and the channel, and it also helps YouTube to show you my videos more often. So thank you all very much for the support, and now let's get into the review. So here's Mateo's paint truck, and I gotta be honest with you guys, when this set was first revealed, I did not like it at all. From the box art, it felt like one of those sets that was just way too big for the sake of being big, and did not do nearly enough to justify what it was going for. But now that I actually have it built up, I have to say I was completely wrong about this set. This actually ended up being one of my favorite sets of the wave. I think it's incredibly well done, and also a somewhat decent value for the price, though I'll get into that a little bit more at the end of the video. But as for just the build itself on its own, yeah, I ended up really liking it. This build is in two sections. We have the actual truck at the front right here, and then the trailer that attaches out the back. That could very easily be removed if you want to separate the two. It also means when you're rolling this around, they move slightly separately. The trailer just follows the path of the truck at the front, just like trucks in real life, so it's cool to see they actually managed to capture that functionality. But now let's move up a little bit closer so you can see the more specific details of the build. At the front, the truck has these things which I assume are meant to be like bumpers, and they can be folded up and out of the way if you don't want them going along the ground. They use some Technic parts and they have stickers on them, and these stickers are interesting because they're actually like metallic silver, so that means there's a reflection in them, unlike standard LEGO stickers. In fact, every single sticker in this set does use that reflective material. Some of them show it a little more than others, but that's not like a new thing for LEGO, but it is a thing they don't do all too often, so it's neat to see here. It makes this feel more unique. The front of the truck has a Z-Blob license plate because of course it does, and you can see there's just two tiny little bits of reflective silver on that one. We do have green headlights here because it is the Z-Blob truck, and poking out the hood of the truck is the engine and the exhausts. Now the wheels used here are incredibly loud, and in fact this is not the first time we've seen them. They were also on the Z-Blob car earlier this year. But they have a trans green cone piece in the center, then the actual wheel piece is neon yellow, and then the tire piece is like a transparent lime green. I think this build actually uses these a lot better than the Z-Blob car from earlier this year, because the red contrasts with those colors so much better than the blue in that other set did. The blue didn't feel too far off from the greens and the yellows in that other set, so it kind of felt like when you looked at it, it was just staring directly into a bright light. This one though, because red is the exact opposite color of green, I feel like they contrast somewhat nicely, and it is still very loud overall, but it's a bit more grounded this time around. There's some more stickers down here underneath the truck with another warning symbol, and again there's some of that metallic silver on it. That sticker is on both sides. The cockpit is very sleek. I love the transparent green windshield, and the roof on top of it frames it really nicely. But if you want to actually get inside to put a minifigure in, that roof can pop off. And inside you can see there's a spot for a minifigure to sit, a steering wheel in front of that, and two pretty standard LEGO printed control panel pieces. The back of the truck here is somewhat open, and I believe that's meant to fit Mateo's cape in this set, because he has this really elaborate like new rubber piece, so we'll take a closer look at that with the minifigures. But yeah, because it's open from the back, that can flow out while he's in the truck. And honestly, with it fully closed up, it's somewhat unclear that that's meant to be a part of Mateo. Instead, it just feels like more of that green Z-Blob detailing, but on the truck itself. There's two more stickers on the top of the roof. One says Blob, of course, for Z-Blob, and this one is the Dream Chasers logo. And then there's two of these like paint cans here too, which can be removed. And these are like the modular aspect of this set. If you guys don't know, pretty much every single LEGO Dreamzzz set from this year has some sort of modular aspect. There's parts of the build that are meant to be detached, and you can reattach them to other sets. They use clips on one part and these bars on the main build. So if you have other LEGO Dreamzzz sets, either from this wave or from the January wave, you can mix and match parts between them. I will say these canisters are not the most exciting parts, but it is cool that you can attach other things right here instead of them. Finally, here at the back of the truck, there's actually a little bit of movement on the wheels. That can help it adjust if it's trying to drive over difficult terrain. For example, imagine my hand is an obstacle in the road, it goes up like that and back down like that. I've seen LEGO sets do that before, but it's always really cool whenever we get it. And then this part right here is where the trailer can attach. You can see on the underside of the trailer there's a mini ball joint, so you can just link that in right here. And now the two parts are connected and the truck can drive around. If for whatever reason you want just the trailer on its own though, it does have this little stand that can flick down, so that way you can have it displayed posed even if it's not connected to the rest of the truck. At the actual trailer level, there's not a ton to show off here. It's mostly just red and black stripes. I do like the small bits of neon yellow. I feel like that color is actually used quite tastefully in this build. There's a metallic sticker of Z-Blob as a paint can on this side of the build, and then on the other side in that same spot there's a hazard symbol. The trailer of course has the same wheels as the front of the truck, and the same license plate at the back. It just says Z-Blob, and once again again, it's a sticker. But there is also 4 more modular connection points on this part of the build. These front ones don't have anything attached by default, so if you have parts from another set, you can attach those, or if you wanted to move those canisters over from the truck, you could. The whole point is customization, but the back ones have something already attached to these turrets. These can be popped off in the exact same way, but you can see they have 2 stud shooters at the front. You push down on them, a stud will shoot out. The studs are transparent bright green, of course, to match the Z-Blob theming. And these are designed to be a seat for minifigures to sit on. So for example, I can have Mr. Oz right here controlling this turret, and it spins like a solid 270 degrees. You just can't have it facing that giant paint can in the center. There is one of those on both sides, so you can put minifigures on both turrets. And then speaking of paint cans, we have 2 smaller paint cans here at the back. These I assume are just meant to be accessories for the minifigures. But yeah, very simple little build, they clip in right there. And once again, there's one of those on each side. But now we come to the giant spray paint can at the top, which is easily the coolest part of this build. Right off the bat, I think the stickers on it are awesome. We have a caution sticker right here, and then this just says paint because it's the paint can. And those stickers are also the same on the other side, too. The paint can uses these huge lime green paneling pieces, which is so cool to get such a big part in a more niche color. I assume that's probably new for this set. And then the lid at the top is this disc piece in neon yellow, which again, as I've said, is a color I'm not always the biggest fan of because it's very tough to use. But I feel like it's very tasteful here. Despite being on such a big part, I don't feel like it's overbearing. There's a seating area at the top too for whoever wants to control the spray paint can. And it's got a jumper piece inside, so the intended figure is the Albert figure, which is one of the smaller Dreamling figures. He fits it perfectly and the windshield closes up around him. And then there's these blasts of green air coming out the back of the can, presumably as a response to you shooting the paint out of the front. These rubber pipe pieces are a ton of fun. These have been around forever. I think they were originally a Bionicle part. I know I had them when I was a kid. They were a lot more common back then, not nearly as common today. So they're just a somewhat nostalgic part for me. I think it looks really good here though and makes a ton of sense. But now if you actually want to use the spray paint can for its intended function, it's actually able to be posed. It connects to the truck on these rounded tactic joints so you're able to move it up. And it can go as far as a full 90 degrees, becoming completely vertical. But when you have the can posed and aimed where you want it to, there is a 6 stud shooter at the front to represent the paint coming out of the can. And you can turn that manually up here, but the more fun way is to use the knobs on the side, because these red knobs just have to be turned and that paint's going to shoot out. Ready? I'm going to show you it in action right now. 6 stud shooters are a lot of fun, I assume, especially for kids. They're always a mess to clean up because the studs get all over the place, but for a giant cannon like this, it just makes sense. The theming here is great. I love this part of the build. When you have the paint can up and out of the way, it does actually give you access to a little bit of interior inside the truck. It's not a ton of space, but it's somewhere to put extra minifigures if you want, or extra accessories in this set. And once you have them in there, it's very easy to close them back up. That just opens and closes with the classic LEGO trapdoor piece. But there we go, I think that's about everything there is to the main build of the spray paint truck. Like I said, I'm very impressed. I was fully expecting to not like this set, I was dreading building it, but when I finally put it together, I was like, oh, this is actually a lot of fun. I think they balance the colors really well, the theming here is really good with the whole paint aesthetic. Yeah, if you're interested in this build, I think you'll like it. It's a very fun model. But of course, that's not everything in this set, so now let's take a look at the side build, then the alternate build, then the minifigures, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts on everything at the end. Here are the side builds in the set, 2 of the cyber brain spiders. These guys come in some variation in most of the LEGO Dream sets this year. If you've not seen the cyber brain piece before, it is very cool. It's dual molded in white and transparent pink. Then they have these very interesting rubber tentacle pieces that they use to kidnap minifigures. So for example, if you want Albert to be kidnapped, you can attach him like that. They also always have this printed tile at the top too. It's got this very angry, evil digital face. But as far as these cyber brain guys go, these are both fairly generic ones. I like that they're at least a little bit different. This one uses mech fingers, this one uses a more traditional spider leg build. And there is a good bit of posability to them. You can rotate the legs in and out, spin them all the way around, and then the individual feet sort of have a knee too. But they're very similar to the ones that we got earlier this year. It's cool to have more, but there's nothing that's particularly special about these two. Now let's take a look at the instructions, because just like the other LEGO Dream sets, this one has an illustrated cover. Here we can see the main build of the truck in action, as well as the cyber brain spiders that like the sort of glitch effect that's on their tentacles. And the minifigures look really cool here too. Once you get to a certain point in the instructions, you're given a choice as to what build you want to finish with. This one up here is the default spray paint truck, which is what we just looked at. And then here's the alternate build, which is the spray paint truck flyer. Here's a full look at the illustration for the main build. And then here's the full illustration for the alternate build. Now this would normally be the part of the video where I take this build apart and rebuild it into the alternate build. But this time around, I actually don't have to because I have the alternate build right here. I want to give a huge thank you to Duckbricks for helping me out with this. He and I were both sent the new LEGO Dream sets early for review, and we live somewhat close to each other. So we thought, hey, rather than rebuilding our sets, what if one of us does the main build and the other does the alternate build, and then we just let each other borrow each other's sets to film the review? So that's exactly what we did. So now you can see how the original build looks right next to the alternate build, and you may notice these seem very, very similar. This is one of the least significant alternate builds I've ever seen. design. There is a change in functionality here, but in terms of actual looks, not much is different. The entire front truck section stays exactly the same, and the base of the trailer at the back is also exactly the same. The only thing that changes is the paint can ever so slightly and the way it connects to the rest of the truck. The paint can on the back can still be moved in the exact same way it was before, so you can pose it like aiming up in the air. And there is still that same 6-stud shooter at the front. You may notice though now this red section at the top where Albert sits is slightly longer, and it's got 4 more individual stud shooters on it that you can also use. And these puff of smoke pieces no longer attach at the back right here. Instead they've been moved down and out to be exhaust for the paint truck. And that's because this version of the paint can is actually a detachable flyer. There's a Technic locking mechanism at the base right here that you can pull out on. And that frees the paint can from the rest of the build, so then you can pick it up and just swoosh it around. It's now just its own standalone paint can flyer. It's pretty neat the way the locking mechanism's done. The paint can has these Technic holes at the bottom, and those sit right here in the mechanism. So then when you push in, those axles go through and it's stuck in place. Or if you push the other way, it frees the paint truck back up. To me, this mostly just feels like the better version of the build, because it adds some more functionality without taking away much. You do lose those little turrets on the side. Oh, and also you can't launch the cannon with the knobs on the side anymore. It only works by turning the front. But those are all very minor things. I think the ability to turn it into a flyer is a much bigger benefit. So in my opinion, this is just the better version of the build. They look incredibly similar either way, this one just has a good bit more you could do with it. Because if you want to keep it as the cannon on the truck, you could still do that with this version. This doesn't like lock it down or anything, it could still pose upwards. It just also gives you that flyer functionality if you want. So maybe a little bit underwhelming in terms of alternate build because the two builds don't feel all too different, but the base set is good enough on its own that honestly doesn't bother me too much. But anyway, I'll talk about this set a little bit more at the end of this video. For now, let's move on to the minifigures. Here are the first 2 minifigures in the set. We have Mateo and we have Cooper. Now this Mateo minifigure is strange. I've been calling this guy Venomized Mateo because it's Mateo like fused with Z-Blob. Very similar to like the Venom symbiote from Marvel. But yeah, I think it's a very cool idea. In execution, not entirely sure how I feel. The biggest thing is this like new hood cape combo piece that he has. I'm getting a little ahead of myself though. First, let's talk about the accessories. They're both pretty standard accessories for these characters. They use the hourglass hilt pieces that were introduced a year or 2 ago, and Mateo has like the Z-Blob goo cannon, while Cooper has like a chainsaw on the end. They're neat, but nothing especially new or interesting. But with them removed, here's a better look at the minifigures, and a better look at this cape piece on Mateo. So it's a rubber piece, just like we've seen on the LEGO Marvel Doctor Strange cape and a few others. But what's different about this one is it's transparent green. That does better match like what Z-Blob is, and it's got this dripping effect coming down, but I can't help but feel like it looks a little odd, especially because it makes Mateo look bald underneath everything. If it was a solid hood, it would just be like, oh, his hair's covered up. But no, you can still see the top of his head through the hood. And in fact, if you look close enough, the alternate face even peeks through the back, though it is a bit obscured by the cloak. So I feel like it's not the most effective at what it was going for. It is a very unique piece at the very least, I'll give it that. So it's just kind of cool to have in a collection, but yeah, I just don't know if it accomplishes what it wanted to do, which is a bit of a shame. I wish it felt a bit more natural in Mateo. While the transparency is cool, I think a solid color might have looked better, because Mateo then wouldn't just look bald. Let me know how you guys feel about that in the comments though, because I'm sure this is going to be a very divisive piece. The rest of this minifigure though is phenomenal. The face, the torso, the hips, and one leg are from the Mateo minifigure earlier this year. He also comes in other sets this wave, but what's new on him is this side, like the Z-Blobified parts. The upper arm is just transparent green, which is cool to get in that color, but it's not new. We have gotten that in other minifigures before, such as the Core Lloyd spinner from Ninjago, and then even Moro this year has one transparent arm in this color, though I think it's the other arm. What I really love about this minifigure though is the leg, because one of his legs is now also completely transparent lime green. But what they did is they still printed it all the way around. He has side leg printing on a transparent leg, and this might be the first time we've ever seen this on a minifigure. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't know if I could think of any other minifigure that has transparent legs and side leg printing. Because that's such a rare combination, it makes this guy really stand out in the best way possible. I think detailed printing on top of transparent pieces always looks incredibly cool. That's how I feel about the Spectral Dragonians in this Ninjago wave too. But on the green, especially with the side leg printing, I love how that part looks, and I wish both legs were green. It's a shame it's only just one, though I get what they were going for. It's meant to be like half Mateo, half Z-Blob, and it's matching the side of the face that already has the Z-Blob effect on it. So just for that leg piece, this is a very cool minifigure to get. It's not the only set that he comes in. He does come in one other that is a little bit smaller, but I'm happy there is multiple ways to get this guy. And yeah, face print is just the pretty standard Mateo face as of the last few waves, and there's a look at the back torso print too, which as I said is from earlier this year. The Cooper minifigure right next to him unfortunately is not new at all, it's just the same one from earlier this year. It is probably my favorite Cooper design that we've ever gotten, but it's also the most common Cooper's ever been. He came in 2 sets earlier this year. Typically he's a more rare character, so I guess it is still nice to get him again. My favorite part about him is definitely the back torso print where it just says built. I think that's so funny. But the hair hat combo piece is really nice to get, and I just love love the super high-tech design that he has going on despite the somewhat casual jacket. His face print, he's got like these VR goggles on one side because this is the video game season, he's gotta have the video game stuff. But then the alternate face is the more generic angry face, which that's good to have for him as well. So yeah, it would have been cool if there was something new about this guy, but it is just nice to get the character again. He's not a bad inclusion here. Here are the next two minifigures in the set. We have Mr. Oz and Albert. These guys are cool to get as well because they're surprisingly uncommon characters in the LEGO Dreamzzz theme. They're very important in the show, but yeah, they come in very, very few sets. Luckily though, these are both all new versions of them. Mr. Oz, I love his accessories. He's got these two like brick-built blasters, and they feel very different from anything I've gotten in an official LEGO set before. I love the use of the Harry Potter candle pieces to be like the barrels at the front, that looks so cool. And the transparent light blue as well to be like energy charging them up. It feels very sci-fi in the best way possible. And it fits the design of this minifigure too. Which, speaking of, here's a better look at his new outfit for this wave, and I think this is a really neat update. The torso's maybe a little bit cheesy. He's got this like metallic silver armor, but it's in the shape of a video game controller. As I've said throughout this review, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole like video game theme. Just abstract idea of video game by placing video game controllers all over the place. It's a bit much for me. It feels very cheesy. But I know it's the theme, so it's what they're going for. The legs though are gunmetal gray, which is a somewhat rarer color, and it does just have like a very useful generic sci-fi design. I feel like you could make some cool custom characters with that. Arms are gunmetal gray as well, which is a somewhat rarer color for them. We get them on like Nia and Ninjago. But whenever we get any sort of metallic part, it is a somewhat exciting thing. His back torso print, it looks like he has some sort of cloak folded up. And then his hairpiece is the same one from the first wave, and he's got a face print underneath with the metallic silver mustache, as well as like a little sci-fi monocle over one eye. I'm happy to get this character again, and it's cool to see that he has a new outfit. Video game controller is a bit much, but overall I still like it. Leg piece especially is super cool. And then Albert's very nice to get as well. Another very rare character, just like Mr. Oz. I think every single set they've come in together, and this is a brand new variant for him as well. A big thing about him though is he uses the classic space helmet and air tanks in dark blue, which is an all new color for this set. We did get the matching torso and build a minifigure last year, so now we can finally complete that Spaceman minifigure. But if you prefer your Spaceman to be smaller, he does still have that classic space logo on the bottom of his torso. So technically this is a complete classic spacesuit, it's just a very small one. His face print's entirely new too. It's now printed on gold, I guess, to be like the inside of the space helmet. On one side it looks like he's holding his breath, and on the other side he's got like this digital display over his face. Probably some sort of like tracking computer. There's how that looks in the front, and there it is with the helmet on. He's very silly, but I love Albert a lot, and it's great to get the classic space parts too. I think this is an awesome variation. And now we come to our final two minifigures in the set, the two villain minifigures. We have One and we have D-Shock. D-Shock did come in a single set earlier this year, though One is all new for this wave and exclusive to this set. And again, because this is the video game season, they both have like a video game type effect to them. D-Shock has like this 3D glitch effect with the blue and the red, while One is a more like traditional cyborg design, though she has a power button in the center of her torso just like the Zero minifigure from earlier this year, and a bunch of these pixel-like squares to create the rest of the design on her torso. First though, their accessories. One comes with this very like classic sci-fi ray gun. It's just a pink lightsaber blade piece on a LEGO ray gun piece. And then D-Shock uses that same part in black, though it has lightning coming off of it instead. And there's two bolts, one at the top and one at the bottom. It's the same weapon that he had in the set earlier this year, but I do think it's a quite cool one. Removing those though, here's a better look at the minifigures, and the highlight of the One minifigure is absolutely this new hairpiece. It's dual molded in coral for the ponytail and then like opalescent white for the actual hair. And this is very LEGO Dreamzzz, like Izzy has used those sparkly colors in the past, but it's so cool to get another character that does that. And it's an entirely new ponytail design too, where the hair is broken up into segments. It feels a lot more robotic, very inorganic. Her face print has these very exaggerated eyes with giant eyelashes and metallic blue lips. I love metallic blue as a printing color for LEGO, and the face feels very like classic sci-fi to me. It feels like the kind of thing you'd see in like an older Doctor Who episode. Back torso print, you can see we've got the 0-1 right there, because if you can't tell, the villain's names 0 and 1 is to represent binary. And that like void of pixels also continues around the back here. She uses the Minnie Mouse skirt piece in coral, which is an awesome new recolor for that part. And then taking that off, there's a full look at the leg print, which you can see does still connect to the torso. It just puts her in like a blazer instead. And those blue pixels continue down into the legs, and we have a very detailed like metallic design on the feet too. I think One's a very unique villain for LEGO Dreamzzz, a lot of fun colors used here. The minifigures are by far the highlight of this video game wave, because I'm not the biggest fan of just the entire theming, but these guys are very cool and she is no exception. I'm glad that we have more of a lineup with these villains now. And then D-Shock, as I mentioned, is awesome. I loved this minifigure earlier this year and I still really like it. That 3D effect that they have going on is super cool with the red and the blue, and then we have like the metallic silver in the middle of everything. Neon yellow is also a super interesting color that LEGO doesn't use too often. It's a somewhat newer color, but especially on a hairpiece. I think this is the first time I've ever seen that color on a hairpiece. And the hair matching the color of the jacket too helps these guys feel like robots, like they're not actually real. Face print looks amazing with that mask piece removed too, because it's just like this glitching skull. And you can see there's a power button around the back as well, which is upside down just like the one on One's torso. The dark purple then contrasts the neon yellow perfectly, and it all just comes together for an amazing villain design. So yeah, these two are both great, some of the highlights of the set for me. Very creative designs. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? I like it a lot, actually. I was totally wrong about this one. It's a great model, and it feels like a very fresh, very new addition to the LEGO Dreamzzz lineup. The price on this one seems fine. It's not especially good, but it's also not especially bad. It feels like probably about what a set like this should be. It could maybe have been like $10 cheaper, but everything's expensive these days. It's far from the worst offender I've seen. But yeah, it's a very fun model, a great minifigure selection with 3 exclusive minifigures and then 3 other really good ones. There's some good conflict in this set too, because it's a nice balance of good guys and bad guys, because you do get the 2 little Cyberbrain models as well. This feels like a fairly solid, like, all-in-one set. If you like Dreamzzz a lot, but you're only gonna get one set, this one does give you a lot of what you need. I don't know what else to say. LEGO kinda killed it with this one. It's not, like, my favorite set of all time or anything, but I think it's incredibly solid. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and let me know in the comments which summer 2025 LEGO Dreamzzz set you want to see an early review of next. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching everybody. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!